What happened to Dabo today? A press conference happened, nearly an hour-long press conference in Clemson today. And here's what happened. As best I can tell, and I'm going to play you some sound so you can experience it for yourself, and it is an experience. As best I can tell, Dabo walked into a press conference today, and he had an answer, and he was searching for a question. And Nick Saban used to do this a lot. He had a message he wanted to deliver, and he was just hoping that a reporter teed him up with a question that was even in the neighborhood of the answer that he already knew he wanted to give. Well, Dabo walked in a press conference today, and he had an answer he wanted to give. He was waiting for the question. The question didn't come. And so you know what he did? He just kind of crashed out anyway. And to be clear, I'm going to play you several bites from this press conference. I want to make sure you understand, we are not clipping this out of context. We are not twisting his words against him. I love Dabo Swinney, so I wouldn't do that to begin with. But I do want to make sure you know when I'm playing you this sound, because when you listen to what I'm going to play you, if you're like me, the first thing you would ask yourself is, okay, but what was said before that? I'm going to let you know what was said before that. One of the assembled members of the media there asked the following question. What's one offensive play you'd like to have back against Georgia Tech? I'm going to read it again. What is one offensive play you'd like to have back against Georgia Tech? Right? Now, to Dabo's credit, he did answer that question. But he wasn't done. When he finished the answer, he wasn't done. So, triggered by the question, what's one offensive play you'd like to have back? Let me walk you through what happened over the next 13 minutes. Play SOT 1, Bradley.
We're a great program because we've always responded. And we finished 9-4. It's the worst season we've had in 14 years. That's the worst season we've had in 14 years. How many ADs would sign up for that? How many AD? I know. So again, then we come back last year and we win the league again. We go back to the playoff. And right now, here we are. This is yet to be determined. This ain't written yet. I just say that, like, what's so bad about our program? What's so bad about it? Like, what's so bad about the worst season that we've had 14 years? How many programs in college football would sign up for one, and only once, 14 years of 9 wins? How many programs would sign up for that?
Okay, classic gaslighting technique here that's not going to work because we're not in middle school. So to be very clear, many athletic directors would sign up for the past 10 to 15 years at Clemson. We're not measuring Clemson against the many, you know that. We're measuring them against the few, which is a credit, by the way, to the standard you've established there. But what we have here is essentially, we have a gaslighting technique. It works on a lot of people, by the way. The gaslighting technique is like if you're an honor roll student and, 3 B's popped up on the report card. You go home and you hand the report card to Dad. Dad's going to look at you and say, why did you make 3 B's? That's not acceptable. And you look back at Dad and say, I guess you're telling me I'm a failure. I guess I'm just the worst kid in the world. No, parents not going to fall for that. It's a good try. It's a good try. That's closely related to the one time when I tried to convince my dad to let me go spank myself. I'll go punish myself, okay? You don't have to do it. It's a great strategy. It just doesn't work. Nor does this work. Nobody's telling you you're bad. No one said that. In fact, the dude asked what play you'd like to have back. And then 7.5 minutes later, rambling, semi-coherence, we get, what's so bad about our program? Absolutely nothing. We're not looking to be just not bad at Clemson. We're looking to be great. We just hadn't tasted greatness in a while. That's the only thing that people are really complaining about. He was not even close to done. SOT 2, roll it, Bradley.
In the playoffs, so we all talk about, we've been 7 times in 10 years. Who can say that? If we stink because we haven't played for the national championship since January of 20, well, I guess we stink. Or we haven't won it since January of 19. We haven't won the national championship. Well, then I guess we stink. But why are we held to a different standard from all these other teams out there who ain't ever won nothing?
Yeah, so this is the one that got me. Why are we held to a different standard than a bunch of programs that have won nothing? Because you're not those programs. And I'd ask Dabo Swinney, do you hold Clemson to a different standard than the other programs that have won nothing? And the answer is yes, you do. So what are you chastising me for? If I'm holding you to a different standard, just like you admit you hold Clemson to a different standard, what's the problem here? Again, no one's telling you suck. No one who's serious, at least. No one's telling you you're bad. But I really, truthfully, I don't care how Clemson compares to Akron. I don't care how Clemson compares to Bowling Green. I don't care how Clemson compares to Maryland, because Clemson's better than them. And they're better than them because you built it. So you know that. And you know good and well you hold yourself to a standard above that of most other coaches in college football. You hold your program to a standard higher than most, if not all, other programs in college football. And so when you're not there, and when I'm used to you being 1 or 1A for a long time, and you're in the top group, you're in the top tier, and now you've relegated yourself to maybe the bottom of tier 1 or the top of tier 2, I'm not telling you you're terrible, but I'm going to notice it, just like you've noticed it. So again, no one needs to play games here. No one needs to say, oh, you think I suck, you think I'm terrible. No, I don't. No, if you sucked and you were terrible, they'd fire you. They're not going to fire you, nor should they. No serious person would even suggest it. But why are we held to a different standard? Because you set the standard. That's why you're held to the different standard. All right, gear it up, Bradley. He still wasn't done. SOT 3, it rolls on.
We're not perfect, and we may suck this year. We may lay a freaking egg and go 6-6, but I don't think so. And I know that's going to disappoint a lot of people, but I don't think so. All right? The reason we are, I think, the best program in college football is because we've always battled. We've always responded. We are not perfect. We've had some bad moments. We've had some bad little stretches. We've had some lows, and this is one of those. But we have a consistency, and we have a will to win and a fight and a program that is, to me, the model in all of college football.
That's why I will not seriously bang on Dabo Swinney, because I respect him about as much as I respect anyone in college football, and he is right when he says that. Now, you could argue they're not the best program or whatever, but they've been a model program. They've been a model of consistency. It rubs a lot of people the wrong way when you say they do it different at Clemson, but they do it different at Clemson. I know because I've talked to plenty enough kids who have gone on official visits there versus other places, and they've come, even the ones that may not have committed there. They do talk about it being different at Clemson. So I really have no problem with that, and that's why I've always been conflicted on this. I've talked about this several times, even leading into this year. I talked about how conflicted I was because I personally would love to see them leverage the transfer portal more. And I stand by that. And I think it could fundamentally have changed the fortunes of this team this year. Hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year-round. And we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. But he doesn't feel that way. And he's long since earned the right to run his program however he wants to. But the point is, even if I disagree with him on this or that, they're his values. They're his principles. And he's always adhered to them, and he's never apologized for it. And there's some folks out there who are just spineless, and they're terrified of being criticized, and he's never been that. And I've always appreciated that. That's why this kind of stuff is a little conflicting for me. So I will say, in the interest of fairness and balance here, he's absolutely right when he said what he said there. But it wasn't over. Continue it, Bradley.
If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on their way, because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking, is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, to be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory, in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. And, hey, listen, if Clemson's tired of winning, they can send me on my way, but I'm going to go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all going to have to deal with me for a while. I have a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach. I'm just now figuring it out. So we'll be around a while. Let's hang in there.
Yeah, no one's letting anyone go. Let's calm down on that. All right, but I do want to say this. I love Dabo Swinney. I have long admired the way he does his business. I think that the game has passed him by a little bit, but it doesn't have to have passed him by. When I say it's passed him by, I don't mean it's some mental thing, like he struggles to keep up or his techniques are antiquated or like his offensive or defensive system. I don't mean it that way. I mean, the sport's changed, and he has voluntarily chosen not to roll with that flow. Now, I always thought to myself, and I don't know Dabo personally at all, but I've always wondered from afar, I've wondered if he's looking at the sport and the way it's changing, and he's had a great lengthy career. Maybe he's looking at it, he's in his mid-50s saying, maybe it's about time I go try something else. Well, clearly that's not the case. So I fully believe he was honest there and transparent when he said, well, if I leave here, I'm not retiring, I'm just going somewhere else. I'll start another program. But he was pretty emphatic that they'll get it right there. You picked up on that several times, as did I. He was pretty emphatic. Yeah, we'll get it right. We'll win again. I'm just not confident in that. Well, let me say this. If they don't change some fundamental things about that program, they are not going to win at a high level anymore. They can be a good program. I think the floor is pretty high there. So they'll never drop below that of a solid top 8 to top 15 caliber program, but those teams aren't winning national championships. And fortunately / unfortunately, he set that standard there. That's why his legacy will never be in doubt for me. I don't care if he never wins another game. But if you're talking about being better than just good, if you're talking about competing for a national championship, I need to remind you, or I need to ask you, I guess, what makes you confident it's ever going to get better than it is this year? Because I think this may be Clemson's best team over the next several years. This was the one they built to. You want to talk about the Clemson way of doing things. Okay, the Clemson way is we don't really use the portal. We believe in our people. We go recruit our guys, like Cade Klubnik, former highly touted guy. Bring that quarterback in, you develop him, you go hire Garrett Riley, a highly sought-after coordinator, and you've got those two married together for multiple years, and you let it cook in your system, in your culture, in your way of doing things to where he's a multi-year coordinator, coaching a multi-year quarterback. You've got tons of returning experience, homegrown talent. You recruited it, you developed it in-house, you went and got a high-profile defensive coordinator to pair along with all of that, and this is the result. Like I ask, what is it about that formula that will produce an infinitely better result down the road? This is the one that should be delivering for you, and it's not. And I'm telling you, like the roster talent's trending the wrong way there. Not falling off a cliff, but they're not landing the caliber of athlete that they used to. So that could change, okay? I have no idea if something's going to change there. If it doesn't change, if the Clemson way just continues to be the same Clemson way that it's been, you're just looking at a pretty good program. That's what they'll be, a pretty good program. I just don't think that's going to be good enough for them. And if Dabo's honest, it's not good enough for him either. I think he's a lot more disappointed about the way this thing got out of the gate than he's letting on. I'm not saying he doesn't seem fazed by it. I think it's probably taken him a little more by surprise. I guarantee you he did not expect this kind of result unless there was big injury, like quarterback injury or something like that. But it's been disappointing, and I don't know that there's a lot of room for that team to improve because it's not a lot of unknown commodities. See, that's the thing about some of these teams where, you know, they threw a bunch of guys together from the portal and they got a bunch of true freshmen starting. You could watch a team like that lose early in the year and you think, well, you know what? Give it time. Let's check back a month from now. I bet they'll be a way different team. Why would that Clemson team change much? Why would that even happen? And then if it does change a whole lot, why did it take losing early in the year for a bunch of returning starters to hit the gas? Like, what sense does that make? So, entertaining press conference, I'll give it to him.